Either upon taking in the exciting work being pumped into the landscape by the AEW originals, or sensing that TK and the gang were onto something game-changing out of the gates. Each of these wrestlers all knew they simply had to become All Elite sooner rather than later. Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 wrestlers who went to extreme lengths to join AEW. Number 10, Britt Baker wants to juggle dentistry with being All Elite. Trying to get yourself through dental school and start up your own practice isn't what you class as the simplest of endeavors for any budding dentist. Now factor in the often impossible dream of also wanting to set the professional wrestling business on fire, and you have the frankly staggering career choices of a certain All Elite DMD. But there was a time when said ambitions to be both the doctor and the wrestler was something of a stumbling block for Britt Baker during her attempts to get signed with WWE a few years back. Far from letting this WWE setback deter Baker from a life in the wrestling business, however, the eventual AEW star eventually found a dental office that would allow her to continue performing as and when she desired. With Baker going on record to note on Talk is Jericho, "The biggest question I got to tally off was that I could still be a dentist during the week. And that was one of my first conversations with Tony, was about how thankful I am that I get to do both of my passions." Number 9, the Good Brothers shine a light on contract season. The Good Brothers made a not-so-subtle hint at where they would most likely prefer to wind up in the coming months during this year's WrestleMania weekend. As reported by your very own What Culture team, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows made it known that they would definitely be interested in joining Tony Khan's company when their then current Impact Wrestling deals were up in July/August time. In Machine Gun Anderson's own words on the matter, "So our best friends run a big company, on top of our friend Tony Khan runs a big company, on top of our best friend Rocky Romero is talent relations with New Japan, also Impact Wrestling offered us a new contract, god damn it, things are about to get crazy." Instead of quickly making moves for the Good Brothers or even teasing them back onto All Elite programming in recent months, however, Khan doesn't appear to be in too much of a rush to bring the Bullet Club lads back into the mix full-time at time of recording. Number 8, Chris Jericho breaks his unwritten Vince McMahon rule. News of Chris Jericho suddenly making an almighty U-turn in early 2019 when it came to one of his most sacred unwritten rules caught just about everyone in the business completely off guard. For years, despite rocking up in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a spell and proving he could still hang with the best of them, Y2J was adamant he would never perform on another US wrestling show out of respect for Vinnie Mac, confessing back in 2018, "I always felt like the unwritten rule is I don't want to go into the States. I felt like that would be a real slap in the face of Vince McMahon." Clearly sensing that he simply could not pass up the opportunity to be one of the leading lights in the cutting-edge promotion, however, Jericho dramatically went back on his word in the wake of appearing at All In a few months earlier. Number 7, Bryan Danielson runs down his WWE contract after main eventing WrestleMania. If you would have told the average wrestling fan that Daniel Bryan would have kissed goodbye to all things sports entertainment just a matter of weeks after main eventing the biggest show of the year, most would have quite rightly questioned your sanity. But fast forward a couple of days on from being conquered by the head of the table on 2 separate occasions in 2021, and it soon became public knowledge that Bryan had actually shockingly ran down his WWE contract. And despite WWE reportedly pushing hard to re-sign the American Dragon, and even trying to forge a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling on the request of the star himself, Bryan Danielson only went and rocked up in Tony Khan's promotion at All Out 2021. Ultimately, Danielson desperately wanted violence, and he most definitely got it. Number 6, Tony Storm freaks out and goes home, and eventually to AEW. In the wake of picking up a 2018 Mae Young Classic victory and holding the NXT UK Women's Championship for a spell, a 2020-2021 run on the US Black and Gold brand set the stage for Tony Time to finally officially make its way onto the WWE main roster. Yet it was during said few months post-call-up that Tony Storm quickly realized the company she thought she'd needed to be a part of for much of her life wasn't actually for her after all. And in an eventual conversation with Busted Open Radio, on the back of the stress of not seeing family in years and then just so many overwhelming things all at once, Storm would go on to note, "I guess I just freaked out and went home." Enter Tony Khan with an all-elite contract and, as Storm herself put it, a second chance and opportunity to really do what I love, which is pro wrestling. Number 5, CM Punk turns down WWE's big money. Around the time and eventually All Elite bound CM Punk decided to take his name out of the UFC's USADA testing pool in 2020, his former employers were already nudging the voice of the voiceless about a potential comeback to all things WWE. It's worth noting that around this time, Punk had made it rather clear what his asking price would have been to step foot back into Vinnie Mac's former company, telling, pardon my take, that the conversation would have to start at somewhere like 20-25 million, despite WWE no doubt being happy to throw a staggering amount of cash at Punk if he was willing to jump through their required inside hoops though. As he confessed to ESPN later on, "I remember one of the first things I ever said to them was, above all, don't play games. And they played games. Some things never change." Number 4, the Revival go full FTR. A whole year or so before they were finally granted their much-desired release from World Wrestling Entertainment in April 2020, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler went out of their way to send out a not-so-subtle signal to those signing the checks over in the land of All Elite. Back in January 2019, the pair made it known for the first time that they were well and truly fed up with the way the Revival was being handled, asking the company to release them from their contracts so they could further forge their legacy elsewhere. But WWE were having none of it, of course, and it wasn't long before the team was seen sporting trunks with the acronym #FTR on their asses. Long before they had taken up this moniker outside of the sports entertainment sphere, the phrase of F the Revival had been immortalized by AEW's The Young Bucks on Being the Elite. And though WWE still did everything in their power to keep the unit under contract, the duo ultimately got their AEW wish by May 2020. Number 3, Road Dogg begs to join Tony's gang. He may be enjoying life as WWE's latest senior vice president of live events, but there was a time recently when the Road Dogg Brian James was in desperate need of a job. Unsurprisingly, however, on the back of routinely hammering and burying AEW's product in the time since being let go by WWE in January, Khan wasn't in too much of a rush to hand the former D-Generation X figure a deal. But that still didn't stop Road Dogg from taking to Busted Open Radio to directly question why on earth TK wouldn't want to bring him into the All Elite mix, with James letting loose the bizarre comments of, "I see things on Tony Khan's TV show that appall me. I could help with that. I have been begging him for a job on every platform I can, and I want to know the reason why he won't hire me." Despite spending much of 2022 on his knees pleading for an AEW role, it looks like Tony has ultimately missed this Road Dogg opportunity. What a shame, eh? Number 2, Eddie Kingston calls out the American Nightmare. Eddie Kingston didn't waste any time forcing folks to sit up and take notice upon making his AEW debut in July 2020. In truth though, Kingston had been doing that throughout his hard-fought career, and a ballsy promo as eye-catching as the one that instantly shot him to superstardom on the All Elite stage was enough to give Tony Khan no choice but to bring Eddie Kingston in for a shot at the American Nightmare. A few weeks before clashing with Cody Rhodes over the TNT Championship on his AEW debut, Kingston seized the mic after an ICW clash and well and truly took his foul-mouthed shot. Kingston seemed particularly vexed at Rhodes' hollow claims of grinding for everything he has, going out of his way to bury the champ's recent Open Challenge opponents as children too. It wasn't long before Rhodes and Khan simply could not deny Kingston's bold dare to throw him in there with the one-time EVP, with Eddie well and truly delivering the fight he promised. Number 1, Darby Allin takes out a loan to become All Elite. Instead of putting his body on the line in the time before officially becoming All Elite, the eventual TNT champion went out of his way to put his financial life at risk the second it became clear that Cody Rhodes was interested in investing in Allin as one of the promotion's 4 pillars. The Daredevil was very much signed to another promotion, but sensing that Rhodes' interest was too life-changing an opportunity to squander, Allin decided to buy his way out of his current deal via a $12,000 bank loan. Telling the DDP Snake Pit podcast, "The moment I heard Cody was interested, long story short, I paid $12,000 to get out of my contract. I took a loan out and I remember I used to hit Cody up like every day. Just blow his phone up. And he would never really answer. Thankfully, Cody did eventually answer, and after a visit to Rhodes' house, Allin turned down the likes of NXT to ultimately become one of the foundations of an all-elite revolution. And that's our list. Know of any other wrestlers who went to extreme lengths to join AEW? Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if you like this kind of thing, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I have been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you as always for clicking on this lovely video today. I hope to see you very, very soon, but in the meantime, just be good to yourself. Bye bye.